Your dreams are bigger, bolder, and more badass than the life you're living now, but something just keeps getting in the way. Join certified coach and former therapist Diann for the Driven Woman podcast. She'll show you how to get rid of whatever is holding you back so you can stop spinning your wheels and up-level your life. Get ready to hop in and buckle up. This is the Driven Woman podcast, and we're heading for the fast lane.
Well, hello and welcome back to my fellow driven women. Listen, I already know the answer to this, but have you ever gotten yourself into such a tangled mess as an entrepreneur that you have no idea how you got there or how to get out? Of course you have. We all have. Feeling stuck as a small business owner or solopreneur is such a common problem, especially for the creatives among us and those who have trouble asking for help. Sound like anyone you know? Well, in this solo episode, I'm going to break down for you the various reasons why we get ourselves stuck and reveal that they are almost always a mindset issue instead of a real problem. Now, this is really good news because mindset issues are learned, and what is learned can be unlearned. You follow? So I'm really excited to break this down for you. But as always, I need to let you know about my latest podcast review. This one comes from Michelle Johnson, who says, "The Driven Woman podcast is for those of us who seek to align ourselves with our truest goals and aspirations. Diann's transformative approach to dealing with our pressing careers will convince you that you can work at a more focused pace and get big things done. I've learned that talent and potential don't mean a thing if we let fear," and she puts perfectionism in parentheses, "take us hostage." Diann's podcast is both fun and sassy with a dose of go get 'em girl, you got this. Now remember, also don't forget to click on the link in the show notes to participate in our mindset poll. You know, the one I told you about last week called What's Holding You Back? It's really important that you do that so we know which mindset blocks to address in our upcoming special series. I want those episodes to sound like we made them just for you. Sound good? Don't forget to click on that link, and while you're at it, maybe you want to add a podcast review of your own. So, without further delay, I will share with you my thoughts about getting unstuck. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, life is hard. The struggle, as they say, is real. Everybody is dealing with something, especially now, when the number of people who are dealing with serious problems is just astronomical, and there just doesn't seem to be an end in sight. Listen, there's no free ride. Unless you have zero goals and are completely content with the current state of affairs, aka your comfort zone, you're going to be striving to make things better. You might just be trying to get back into the jeans you wore before we all went into quarantine and spent the last going on a year distracting ourselves with nightly dates with Ben and Jerry's and Netflix. You might be trying to get promoted at your interesting but not well-paying job so that you can get a better place to live. You might be trying to replace the job you lost when the quarantine changed everything. You might be trying to build up your side hustle so that you can join the ranks of digital solopreneurs. Whatever you're striving for, you'll be taking plenty of massive action, learning the art of failing forward, and strengthening your neck to manage all those hats you're wearing. Hey, all this personal growth can be stressful, and sometimes you feel stuck, so stuck that you slide into self-pity and victim mode. I've been there. You can literally go from thinking, I'm so stuck, to I'm completely fucked in a New York minute and not even realize it's your mindset that landed you there. I've seen it happen with plenty of fellow entrepreneurs, especially when the stuckness comes really early in their business and hits them hard. It's just so easy to jump to the conclusion that you're making a huge mistake and just aren't cut out for being your own boss. Now, if you sink deep enough into the emotional quicksand, you might even convince yourself you're doomed to struggle indefinitely, or even that you're being punished for being greedy or selfish or audacious enough to think you could even make it on your own. If you've been self-employed for at least a year and haven't experienced this at least once, call me. I need to pick your brain, seriously. For the rest of you, keep listening. Listen, there are really countless reasons for finding yourself stuck in this entrepreneurial game, but in my opinion, they tend to fall into a few general categories. So let's just unpack them together and take some of the myth and mystery out of it, shall we? Okay, first, I want to talk about being unprepared. Now, we either jumped into something without really thinking it through, hey there, ADHD, or because we're simply following the herd, or we're just not tapping into our inner wisdom about what will work for us. We think that what worked for her will automatically work for us, right? So we leap into action and we try to recreate her steps. Many of us even hire coaches and consultants and mentors and gurus and say, just tell me what to do step by step. Listen, sooner or later, you're going to discover that her winning formula isn't just right for your personality or your industry or even your ideal customer's needs. Once we hit the stuck cycle, we do tend to stay there for a while and keep spinning our wheels because we don't know how we got there or we don't want to start over. Now, this unprepared kind of stuckness, it honestly can be avoided completely by making a promise to yourself. Hold your hand up and solemnly swear you will not buy another online course, coaching program, or pay a fuck ton of money to some self-appointed guru without doing thorough research into free or low-cost alternatives. We also need to take an honest look at our motivations, our expectations, and our abilities so that we can steer clear of Stucksville, okay? So that's number one, unprepared, and that magical thinking thrown in. Okay, next category is scared. I probably should have put that first because that really covers a lot of territory. Okay, in the scared category, we usually do know what we're doing, but we're afraid that we don't. Like we are doubting our ability to succeed, feeling like an imposter, worried that we don't have what it takes, or afraid that we'll lose all our friends if we actually make it. Now, a lot of people who say they want to be successful or make a lot of money are actually scared shitless of what might happen if they do. We all set artificial limits on what we think we can have or achieve. It's why one of my favorite books to recommend is The Big Leap, which goes into some serious detail on this. I'll link to that in the show notes if you haven't gotten your copy yet. But anyway, when we think that we're getting close to those limits, we unconsciously sabotage ourselves so that we won't exceed what we think is our maximum capacity. In the area of success, our upper limit might be our annual revenue, the size of the company, the number of people on our team, how many contractors we work with, or even the number of customers or clients that we have. But we're scared, and that's where we get stuck. Okay, next category, compared. Checking out the competition is helpful, but only once you get established. Let me say that again. Checking out the competition is helpful once you get established. You need to have a feel for what other businesses like yours are offering so that you know what your potential clients or customers may also be considering. But the business owners that do too much comparing tend to conform to the norm, which waters down the distinctiveness that makes it harder for a potential buyer to see what might set them apart. See, comparing leads to self-doubt and insecurity and second-guessing. And I've seen so many emerging and aspiring entrepreneurs obsessing about the success of someone they admire in the industry. They're just starting, but that person's been at it for years. And then using that person's current status as evidence that they aren't cutting it or have no chance. Instead of taking into account the years, and honestly, sometimes decades the person they're admiring has been in the game. Hey, the sad and not often talked about truth is that few entrepreneurs succeed in a vacuum. We all need a support network of people who know what it means to build something from nothing. But collaboration is the name of the game, not competition. And your inspiration can come from anywhere. Just don't beat yourself up by comparing yourself to the wrong people, the ones who are too far ahead of you for that to be relevant. That only leads to feeling insecure, envious, and doubtful of your own abilities. So please get back in your own lane and put those blinders on, at least for now. Okay? Next category, I call impaired. This category applies to those of us who believe there's something wrong with us. There's something broken or defective. We're damaged goods in some way. And we believe that that impairment inhibits our ability to reach our goals. Now, it is a fact that many entrepreneurs have neurodiverse brains, like mine. Many of us, in fact, I think the majority of us, have ADHD or a mood disorder like bipolar or depression. Many of us are dyslexic. Many of us are on the autism spectrum. I mean, you have to be a little different to do something that few people can or will do, right? And when you grow up thinking that you're broken simply because you're not like everyone else, it can be a hard belief system to shake later in life, even when there's a lot on the line, and especially when you are where the buck stops. Listen, there are plenty of entrepreneurs who believe they are impaired, and because of that, they think they can't be successful. But there are others that believe because of their race, their upbringing, their IQ, their orientation, their anxiety disorder, their social phobia, their introversion, or any number of other traits. But the truth is, it does not serve us to believe that we're impaired, even if it's true. The reality is that all humans are limited in some way, even the most gifted among us. All of us need sleep, all of us get sick, and every one of us is going to die, some of us well before our time. Look at Steve Jobs. Arguably, I may be saying it wrong, Steve Jobs. I always say it wrong, Steve Jobs. Anyway, he was one of the most gifted entrepreneurs ever. He passed away in his 50s. I happen to have ADHD. Now, I used to believe that I could never be self-employed because I rely on structure and deadlines and accountability to overcome what's challenging for me about my ADHD. But then I learned that some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs and thought leaders have ADHD, just like I do. Richard Branson, David Neeleman, Seth Godin, Marie Forleo, Mel Robbins, and many others. So after I learned this, I realized my impairment, air quotes, was an excuse. So now what? Regardless of how you got here, if you are feeling stuck, you can get yourself unstuck, I promise. You might need to make some changes. You might need to undo some damage, right some wrongs, but you definitely need to reverse your thinking, because the most important step is to make the decision to change your mind. Thinking that you're stuck or thinking that you're fucked or that you're impaired or scared or any of these other things is honestly a choice, as is continuing to think you're stuck so you will stay that way. Stuck is a thought. It is not a circumstance, unless your car happens to be in a ditch and you have no way of getting it out. And even then, it's the car that's stuck, not you. You can call an Uber, you can walk, or you can hitchhike. Thinking that you're stuck might make sense under the circumstances, and I'm sure you can find plenty of evidence to support the claim, but does it serve you? Does thinking you're stuck ever help you identify a solution and show you a way out? Or does it lead to self-pity and resignation? I think we both know the answer. And if you happen to know a good mindset coach for entrepreneurs, and you're feeling stuck, maybe this is a good time to think about hiring her. Oh yeah, you do know one, don't you? I like to think I'm better at getting things and people unstuck than a midwife and a plumber combined. And I'll be right here when you're ready.
Hey, it's Diann. Can I be honest with you? At the beginning of each new year, I always told myself, this is the year I'm going to get my habits dialed in. This is the year I'm going to be crystal clear about my goals and I'm going to crush them. This is the year I'm going to get my shit together on every level and I'm going to do it all by myself. Been there, done that, got a whole stack of t-shirts. But it wasn't until I started working with my own coach that I realized what a difference it makes to have guidance, support, and accountability from someone who's not only like-minded, but like-brained. Yeah, I'm talking about another driven woman, entrepreneur, who also has ADHD and has got it going on. I have 2 openings in my signature one-on-one 12-week coaching program, and one of them might have your name on it. There's a link to a free consult with me in the show notes if you think this might be the year that you really get serious and go all in on an ADHD-friendly business and life. While you're thinking about that, have a listen to what one of my clients' success stories has to say about the difference it made to work with me.
It's funny because at first I said I would never own my own practice. And now I own my own practice. And I would say, I'm never going to take it any more than just treating patients. And now I'm thinking about how can I start my own
institute.
Yeah, exactly. Even like training other therapists, having a certification with my name that I am, I haven't thought of the name yet, but I'm certified in this technique or whatever the case may be. And really just helping other therapists help their patients the way I help mine.
You've been listening to the Driven Woman Podcast with Diann Wingert. Want more straight talk and strategy each week that will take you from spinning to winning? Don't forget to hit subscribe in your podcast player so you won't miss a single episode. Then head on over to the Driven Woman free and private Facebook group community. See you there.